everyone. Welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update, where we look at the Divine Masculine energies, Divine Feminine energies, and the Union energies. And yes, this is going to be an actual reading this time. First, I do want to say thank you all so very much for your community, for your support, for holding that space. I always say that I'm right alongside you guys on this journey. I'm having my own journey as well, and so I really appreciate you guys holding that space for me as I do these readings, as I share my experiences, as I process what I'm going through right along with you. So I very much appreciate this. I'm not a traditional reader. This is how I've been called to do my readings. Not just for the collective, but when it comes to clients, when it comes to sessions, when it comes to just talking in general and sharing experiences in general. I've always been somebody who has shared her own experiences because I understand the value in that. And it's something that has been carried through with me my entire life. There are, of course, aspects of life that are meant to be sacred and private, and I honor and stand by that. But when I'm called to share, it's always for a reason, it's always for a purpose. And when I first started this channel 5-6 years ago now, I didn't intend on channeling anything that I channeled. I didn't intend on talking about sacred unions or channeling sacred unions. I didn't intend on sharing my experiences. But part of the channeling that I do is I can feel it rising within me, what I'm called to share. And that's how I've always just kind of lived my life. I've been called to live from the heart. And so that's how I do my sessions as well. And so I really appreciate you guys who understand that and who respect that and honor that just as much as I love hearing about your journeys. Whether you send me emails or you leave comments, I love the honor of each other, how we honor each other, how we hold that space for each other. That is what community is about, and that's why I appreciate you guys so much. You are an amazing community that not only supports me as I work to support you, but you support each other, and I see that every day, whether it's through our social media platforms, or whether it's in the comments here, or whether it is over on our Patreon where we're building community there. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And that shows up in the live streams as well. And so I'm hoping to do some more live streams because you guys are just, I appreciate. And this journey can be a really crazy one. It can be a lonely one. And unless you're really on it and really conscious of it, it can make you feel like you're going kind of crazy. And so to know that we're not alone, I learned that the value of that when I was dealing with Lyme disease, another very isolating and lonely and difficult experience. And so when I was dealing with that, it was actually somebody sharing their experiences that helped to save my life. And so I recognize the value of community, I recognize the value of support, and I recognize the value of sharing our stories with each other, our experiences with each other. So I just want to say a quick note to say thank you for allowing me to do what I do in a way that feels most natural to me. I love what I do. I feel very honored and blessed to do what I do, to be of service in this way. And whether it is my books and my writing, not just Daybreak, but in my fiction books where I share myself and my experiences and parts of myself, or it is this work that I do, or the Lyme advocacy that I do, or even just talking one-on-one with people in everyday life, it's just such a natural part of my human experience, and I really appreciate those who are understanding of that and supportive of that and reflective of that. And I really appreciate those of you who do the same. And you don't always have to share yourself to connect with other people. And so I really appreciate that we can all honor each other in the various ways where we're able to reach out for support and allow ourselves to receive that support. So I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate this community. I know I say that ad nauseum, maybe like every other week or every other month, but I mean it. And so because I mean it, I want to express it. Okay, so we're going to do a regular reading today. To see what's going on between the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine energies. All right, let's see what's going on for the Divine Masculine right now. What's going on for the Divine Masculine? What's the current energy for the Divine Masculine? Breaking free. Absolutely beautiful and healing hand. So there is a huge shift that is happening for the divine masculines and divine feminines. If you are not really connecting with the divine masculines right now, not that you're detached, but if you are, I feel like you're still feeling their energy, but there's almost like there's this veil between you right now, where you might not be entirely aware of what's going on. There might be no communication again. There might be lack of contact. There might be energetic, like an energetic shutdown between you two. It's because the divine masculine is really going through their journey, and breaking free from old programs, templates, paradigms, versions of themselves. This feels very strong warrior energy coming through from the divine masculine. I feel like this divine masculine I'm picking up on is recognizing their true authentic self, who they want to be, who they really are. I feel like they are realizing that the masks that they were wearing in order to protect themselves. And what are they protecting themselves from? They were protecting themselves from pain, from experiences of the past. And I feel like that's a lot of where they push love away. And the divine masculine reading that I had done, or the channeling, the written channeling that I had done, really picked up on that. There's a lot of healing that's happening alongside this. Divine masculine is being incredibly supported right now. And I'm also hearing that they need to lean into that support, recognize how supported they are. We did a channeling many years ago, The Lone Wolf No More, and that came through in a written channeling recently, where this divine masculine is beginning to recognize the value of community, the value of support, the value of receiving that support and help from others. And this is genuine support. This is not the divine masculine taking. This is not the divine masculine claiming in an egoic sense. This is the divine masculine being very humbled. And in that humility, it's like a spiritual humility is what I'm getting. In that humility, recognizing the value of community, and maybe even recognizing the value of their counterpart, and recognizing the value of the connection that they've had with their counterpart, and that their counterpart has been guiding them. They were just in resistance to it. Because again, it felt like there was a lot of spiritual humility that had happened. There was a spiritual ego that was very heavy here. Or a lot of ego as a whole that was here. This breaking free feels just like they're breaking free within themselves. Like they are just breaking open within themselves. I feel like this masculine, part of their healing process is allowing themselves, number one, I'm getting inner child healing, so that again could be the mirror with the divine feminine. But I feel too, this divine masculine is allowing themselves to feel their emotions and the vulnerability of their emotions. And I'm just getting heavy influence, maybe from childhood, but heavy authority influence that said that they had to shut down their emotions, that they couldn't express themselves, they couldn't express their emotions. And again, that came through in the written channeling as well, where this divine masculine is beginning to recognize the value of opening up and allowing themselves to be vulnerable. Now, using that discernment as far as what to share and who to be vulnerable with. You don't just, open yourself up willy-nilly to everybody. You trust in how you're called to share yourself. For example, when I'm doing these channelings, I'm called to share what I'm sharing. When I'm working at the crystal shop, for example, there are certain instances where I'm called to open up and share with people who are strangers. But throughout that conversation, that connection is made where it's like, oh, okay, this is why I was called to share what I shared, because maybe they're going through the same thing, or maybe they're experiencing the same emotions, or maybe even sharing my story brings comfort to them. Or maybe even me sharing my story enables myself to receive comfort from them. Connections can be made everywhere. Just use your discernment as far as what you're called to express and when you're called to express and who you're called to express that with. This divine masculine is beginning to understand discernment, and where they had really shut themselves down to being open or honest or expressive in any way of their life, now they're allowing themselves to do so. And I feel like their divine feminine has been showing them and has been teaching them. Their divine feminine, I'm getting really opened up a part of themselves. When they met their divine feminine, the divine feminine showed them an aspect of themselves that they had denied within themselves. They had shut down that part they had guarded that part, and the divine feminine had the key. Unknowingly, maybe unconsciously, had the key. And I feel I'm getting an interesting vision as an analogy. I just want to describe it in order to understand fully what I'm experiencing here. I feel like when you and your counterpart met, the divine feminine had the key to your heart, just like divine masculines had the key to your heart, divine feminine. And what I'm seeing, and this is mirrored, but I feel like the divine feminine was more willing to be open, was more willing to kind of surrender. Because I feel like she felt on a very conscious level what this connection was. And so she allowed herself to open up to the divine masculine. She recognized that he had the key to her heart. And so she said, okay, I'm open. All the locks and all the padlocks and all the barbed wire that I had around my heart, I'm knocking it all down. I'm knocking that wall down. And she allowed herself to. Divine masculine, on the other hand, felt the divine feminine's energy, knew on an unconscious level that she had the key to his heart, but rather than allowing that surrender, he stepped into an energy of resistance, where he was like, okay, let's double lock this. Let's put 1,000 padlocks on this. Let's wrap it around in barbed wire. Let's build up that wall brick by brick by brick. Because it felt too painful to let the divine feminine in. Because what she represented was unconditional love, and it felt too painful for that unconditional love. They had not experienced that unconditional love in the past, and they did not understand it. They did not know that unconditional love was possible. They thought that love came with conditions. So that was the difference. That was the push and pull dynamic for this journey. That was the runner-chaser, for example, energy, where the divine feminine was just like, here, I'm here. My heart is open. I've let down my guard for you. And the divine masculine, as much as he wanted that closeness, as much as he wanted to come towards that, his own pain patterns and resistance would not let him. And that resistance, again, only came from those pain patterns and that fear of the past repeating itself. Fearing that pain. Because maybe pain in the past had been so great, and you're like, this is love. I can recognize my counterpart. I recognize the love, but I cannot let her in, because what if the past repeats itself? That's the ego, do you see? That's the ego that they were operating in. The ego is not meant to punish. The ego is not an enemy. You have to understand the ego just wants to protect you from pain. And the ego is like a survival mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. Lots of throat chakra activations, as you guys can hear. The ego is like, oh, we've seen this before, so let's not repeat this. Even if it's completely different, the ego kicks in and says, oh, there is a feminine energy in your life. Oh, there is love that's coming in. Oh, your heart wants to open. Well, what happened the last time your heart opened? Maybe you got knocked down, or maybe you got hurt. So let's put up those walls, and let's resist, and let's deny, and let's avoid. Whereas the feminine, what happened with her, because she was activated to the ascension journey, rather than allowing her ego to kick in and the guards to go back up, she was like, no, I recognize this as a pattern. I'm going to keep my heart open. I recognize that I had been in pain before. I recognize that I'm in pain still, maybe because of this connection, because I see you, divine masculine, trying to deny this connection or trying to resist this connection, but I'm going to keep my heart open. I'm going to keep approaching, because I'm going to recognize that unconditional love within myself, and that unconditional love within you, and the unconditional love within this connection. So I'm not going to put that guard up anymore, no matter what. No matter what. So I feel like the divine masculine is breaking through, breaking free of their own ego. And that's part of the ascension process. And that's part of the healing process. It's a very powerful energy coming through here. This is the divine masculine rising as that warrior within them. And when I say the warrior, I mean because it's like they're in battle. It's like they're fighting against themselves. But the more they surrender, the more they realize that they don't have to fight anything, that they're just fighting themselves. And the more that they surrender, the more that resistance crumbles, the more that ego crumbles, and the more they just open up to love, and the more the healing happens. Fascinating. Divine feminines, what's going on in your current energy? What are you experiencing now? Divine feminines, what are you experiencing now? Manifestation. I'm just getting the energy of more love. You're experiencing more love. You're manifesting more love because you are embodying more love. I got a download. Oh yeah, look, new dawn, beautiful, and inner child. So yeah, the inner child energy, where you might be working through your inner child and healing some aspects of your inner child, coming through again. But this is not inner child healing like you might have done in the past. This is more, and it's not even reparenting like you might have done in the past. This is more inner child recognition, where you are integrating all aspects of yourself. You're integrating the child, the innocence, the joy, as well as the mature aspect of your human self. You're integrating all of it. And so you might actually be experiencing more joy in your life, experiencing more innocence in your life. I am having a 80s party for my birthday. I'm turning 40. So I'm having an 80s party. And it is so much fun to reflect and be really nostalgic about all these aspects of myself. And I'm having so much fun getting a costume and just calling back all these pieces of myself that I might have forgotten or I might have denied. And the joy of it, it's like I'm playing again. I'm allowing myself to play again and allowing myself to open up, and I don't care what people think. I don't care about being judged. I don't care about anything. I'm just having fun and enjoying life. And that is so unfamiliar for me, because I would have judged myself in the past, or I would have feared my little child, that little part of myself, that the inner child being seen. I'd have shut that part of myself down. And now it's like, no, she's out in full throttle. She's playing. She's having fun. She's nurturing herself. But as this adult, mature woman that I've become, I'm also honoring the mature, adult woman that I am and loving her. It's like loving all aspects of yourself. All these fragmented pieces you've called back, and now that's your wholeness. That's your embodiment. That's this energy here. Part of that is authenticity. And the more true to yourself you become, the more in your integrity you become, the more authentic you become. And that's been this journey for the divine feminine, recognizing herself in that truth, in that authenticity. And that's where your manifestations live. I got this download a couple of weeks ago that manifestation, the law of attraction, the real secret is your authenticity. The more true you are to yourself, the more authentic you are to yourself, the more in alignment you are with yourself. We use that word alignment all the time. But what does that actually mean? Alignment means authenticity. Alignment means that you are true to your soul, true to yourself. That's when your manifestations really come into play. That's what alignment is. Alignment is just authenticity. It's just being in your integrity, in your soul's truth. It's just being true to who you are in your wholeness, in your fullness. And as you call all these aspects back of yourself, like we began with the channeling in the beginning, as you call all those aspects back to yourself, that's your wholeness. That's your fullness. And what I'm actually hearing now is that's your union with yourself. Your inner child, the adult woman. For feminines, it's the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Even for masculines, it's their inner feminine. That's the maiden, the mother, the crone energy. It could be your inner masculine, your inner feminine. It's all coming into balance, all coming into fullness, all coming into wholeness. And that's why divine feminines, you are seeing so much come to fruition in your manifestations now. Let's get back into it with a little bit of a deeper dive. Let's see what's going on for the divine masculines. What's going on for the divine masculines? Yeah, I was feeling that as well. There's still some energy of regret, still some energy of remorse, still some energy of looking back to the past that's happening right now. And I feel like that's part of this breaking free process, because you have to go internally, you have to kind of go through it in order to overcome it. What they're showing me is a tunnel, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to go through that tunnel first, and that tunnel is their rebirth. And I feel like a lot of these divine masculines are going through that rebirth process right now, and it might feel a little bit difficult because there might still be some shame, some guilt with regards to the past that's coming up. But I'm just getting drawn to the fact that in these Five of Cups, there's still 2 cups, and I feel like where they might have been focused on the spilled milk, so to speak, they might have been focused on the spilled cups in the past here. Now they're looking at the 2 cups, and I feel like that's their counterpart connection. I feel that they're now recognizing the value of that connection. They're recognizing the value of you, divine feminine. They're recognizing the value within themselves, and they're seeing that reflected in the connection. So I feel like they're putting an end to the past. There's still some residual energy there as far as any shame, any guilt, any regret, and remorse that they're feeling around that. But I like the 6 of Wands came out, because I do feel like this is the overcoming of that. I'm just getting strength energy. And yeah, at the bottom of the deck, you also have the Ace of Wands, which indicates, number 1, awakening, new understanding, new insight, but also new action, new ways of doing things. It's a new beginning for these divine masculines. So they're moving through this process right now, and that's part of this breaking free energy. That's part of this healing energy. This is a process. You guys hear me say that all the time. This is a process, but they are going through this rebirth, and they're going to come out this divine masculine energy. They're going to come out the other side. They might not even recognize themselves. Divine feminine, you don't recognize yourself from your past version of you. And I feel like this is going to be the same for the divine masculine. There's still a little bit of resistance to that, but it's recognizing yourself as a better, higher version of yourself. You're still you. You never stop being you. You're just more true to who you are. You're more authentic to who you are, to who you've always been. What you're actually doing is you're clearing away everything that you thought you were, but you're actually not. Or you're inviting in or welcoming in more of who you actually are. You're still you. You're just a higher conscious version of you. And it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. You're fuller, you're whole. You're just more of yourself. So I feel like that's what the divine masculine is going through right now. Anything else we need to know for the divine masculine? 10 of Wands. Yep. They're approaching the castle. They're shedding those burdens. They've been on this journey for a really long time. They've been carrying the weight of this journey. They're shedding the past. They're shedding the burdens, and they're approaching that castle. That castle is them. It's who they are. It's that conscious, sacred masculine, that warrior within them. Okay, and divine feminines. What's going on for you? Deeper dives. You have the 4 of Cups. We have the Hierophant, or the High Priest. And we have the 6 of Pentacles. Divine feminines. We talked a lot, I shared a lot last week about how the divine feminines might be in a little bit of resistance herself, in denial of herself, because of the toll that this journey has taken on her. That it's very hard to believe. It's very hard to, especially after you kept believing for so long, all of a sudden it's like, well, how do I believe now? How do I believe again? And so there's a little bit of resistance there, and that's what I feel like the 4 of Cups and the High Priest is. With the High Priest, or the Hierophant here, I feel like you are ascending into a new level of your journey, a new level of your union. I'm just seeing that with the keys. That's what they're highlighting here, how the keys have come together. And here you have the sun and the moon. You have the divine feminine and the divine masculine coming together in that union. And I feel like, especially with the 6 of Pentacles, you know that something's balancing out. You feel that in the core of yourself, but your ego is still kind of in the 4 of Cups energy. Your ego's still kind of in resistance. Your ego's still kind of in stubbornness. Like, nope, I can't believe it. I don't want to believe it. But there's this intuitive knowing within you that your union is taking place. especially in the higher levels, in the energetic realms. You can feel this. You can feel the balancing out of your connection. You can feel the partnership. You can feel the communion between you two and the union between you two. So Divine Feminines, I feel like this is a process for you as well. I feel like you guys, you and your counterpart are really aligned. I feel like you're both going through a massive illumination within the self is the phrase that they want to give me. Illumination. I feel like for the Divine Masculine, it's more of a rebirth. I feel like for the Divine Feminine, it's more of an expansion of what they've already always known intuitively. They might have just kind of suppressed that within themselves because it began to be too painful to keep believing, to keep holding the space. Divine Feminines, I feel like now you know how to hold the space in a higher way. You know how to believe without attaching to that belief. You know how to feel into your inner knowing without attaching or needing the evidence of that. This is still a process for you, but I feel like you're getting back to that place of belief, but not from the belief where you were attached as in the beginning of your journey, but belief with that surrender. Let me know if that makes sense for you. I do want to pull some cards and see how you're feeling about each other. I had channeled a song prior to doing this reading. I want to see if that comes out here. How are you feeling? How's the Divine Masculine feeling about the Divine Feminine? Whoa, okay. We have the card Chemistry. We have the card Freedom. Divine Masculine is beginning to really feel this connection and understand how different this connection is, perhaps from past relationships or past connections wherein they felt caged. This connection actually makes them feel free. And I feel like being apart from you, Divine Feminine, makes them feel more inhibited. Inhibited is the right word. Makes them feel less free. Because your love, your connection actually gives them that sense of freedom to be who they are, to express themselves as they want to express themselves, to love as they want to love. Your connection with them actually enables them to feel more free. And I feel like being apart from you or not in communication with you or whatever your connection is now, I feel like it actually makes them feel more just kind of trapped within themselves is the right word. Okay, so they are drawing me to the song. I pulled up the lyrics earlier. It's a song called If You Love Her. Nope, that's not it. If You Love Her by Forrest Black, B-L-A-K-K. I'll put a link in the description box. And the lyrics go, take it. If she gives you her heart, don't you break it. Let your arms be a place she feels safe in. She's the best thing you'll ever have. And I feel like that really hits home because I feel like that's what the Divine Masculine is beginning to recognize that you're a safe place for each other and you always have been, and that you are giving each other's heart. And that's that lock and key, right? The two keys. See, you have the two keys here. You give each other's heart without reservation, without that fear, without that resistance, and that's where your union is, and that's where you ascend to a higher level, and you ascend to a higher level together. Divine Feminines, you're still having a little bit of a hard time believing in this as you believed in the past because of so much resistance that was experienced with the Divine Masculine. The Divine Masculine was just not able or capable or ready to see that within themselves. But your journey, understand that everything happens in its divine timing. Yeah, everything is reflective. Everything happens in its divine timing where it all falls into balance. This yin-yang is your union. You are two pieces, two parts of the same whole. And when you come together, that's when the wheel starts moving. That's when your ascension journey really takes hold, that higher heart ascension, where you're working with each other, not against each other, not in that resistance anymore, because now you can look in the reflection. Now you can look in the mirror at yourself and you can see the love that's there, not just the trauma, not just the past, not just the pain, not just the programming, not just the ego. You can actually look in the reflection of each other and see the love that has been and always will be and is there. That's this union energy. And I feel like the Divine Masculine is really beginning to understand not just the physical chemistry or the sexual chemistry, but understand the soul connection that is you. This chemistry energy is the soul connection that is the makeup of both of you together. And so Divine Masculine is beginning to recognize that he wants to be the Divine Masculine, that he wants to be the safe space for the Divine Feminine. When a feminine energy meets a conscious masculine, she feels safe to open her heart. She feels safe to surrender. She feels safe to be in her natural flow state and natural receptive mode. Because the masculine provides a beautiful container to hold her energy. And she has a lot of energy. She has a lot of wild energy. Feminine energy can be very complex. It can be very complicated. It can be very even convoluted, can be a word. It's very wild energy. The masculine is the container that holds that. She has to learn first to hold that within herself. That's her own inner masculine. But in connection, in relationship, she needs a masculine that can hold that container where she can feel safe to be open and expressive of herself. If she doesn't have that, if the masculine is in his distorted state, or if he's too feminine, or if he's too passive, too lacking in some way, if he's not present, if he's not consistent, if he's not stable and secure, then she shuts down because she moves into her own masculine energy because she feels like she needs to protect herself. She shuts down within herself, and that's when she becomes over-masculinated. She needs the polarity. She needs the balance that the masculine provides. She needs that safe space. And so when we say that the masculine provides and wants to provide for the feminine, he wants to provide for her heart. He wants to provide that sanctuary, that place for all of her wildness. And when we say wildness, we mean all of her expression, all of those beautiful emotions, all of that beautiful self-expression, all of that beautiful energy. He wants to be that for her now. And that's what I feel like he's working towards. That's what I feel like he's breaking free from. He's breaking free from the confines within himself because he wants to come towards the feminine to give her that. He wants to be her masculine. If you love her, you'll be that safe space for her. If you love her, you'll open your heart and receive her heart. That's what this energy is. It's really beautiful. Divine Feminine, how are you feeling for the Divine Masculine? Divine Feminine, how are you feeling for the Divine Masculine? We have gifts. I'm getting this energy of boundaries. I feel like she wants to be so giving, and that's the natural cycle of the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. The masculine provides, offers, protects. The masculine naturally wants to give. And when we're saying providing, protect, and give, it's not necessarily physical gifts, although it could be expressed as such. But it's really about the energy. It's about giving her that safe space. It's about holding her heart. It's about giving her that sanctuary and that container for her to express herself. That's what he's really giving her. And the more that the masculine gives to her, the more that the masculine is present, the more that he has to offer to her, the more she can receive it, and she multiplies it, she magnifies it, and gives it back to the masculine. And it's a beautiful infinity loop that is created of give and receive and give and receive and give and receive. We've been channeling that for years. The more the masculine is able to offer and give, the more she's able to receive. But it has to be giving in that conscious way. Presence, consistency, action, directness. Not hiding yourself away, but being expressive. Being able to hold the container of her emotions and be present and stay with her emotions. The more that he's able to do that, the more she's able to receive, the more she's able to transmute her own energy. Because she feels safe in which to do so, the more she's able to then magnify all that abundance and all of that beauty and all of that love and give it back to the masculine because she naturally wants to give. But boundaries here. She's only going to give to the sacred masculine. She's not going to give to a distorted masculine anymore. She's not going to sacrifice herself for that. She's only going to give to the connection that can hold that container for her. Yeah, at bottom of the deck, they just call me to trust and friendship. She needs that foundation of friendship. She needs that foundation of trust. She needs that to be built first. All right, let's get just a quick card of guidance. I think we might be back with a shorter reading, hopefully. My gosh, these are getting long, but there's a lot that's here. I think we'll be back later this week with a new moon. There's a new moon energy update. So let's just pull a card of guidance for right now. What do we need to know? What does the masculine need to know for right now? What's their guidance for right now, please, Spirit? What does the masculine need to know? What guidance do we have for the divine masculine? I feel like this one wanted to come out too. The energy is gaining momentum and emotions are running high. I feel like bring love into the situation. Yeah, I feel like divine masculines, you're going through it right now. It's picking up pace. Your ascension journey is picking up pace. Your rebirth is picking up pace. You might be feeling emotional yourself, but bring more compassion, bring more love into it. And nurture yourself is what I'm also hearing. Allow yourself to nurture yourself. Give to yourself whatever it is that you need. I'm also getting the energy of the divine feminine. So allow the feminine, whether this is, if you're in communication, then allow yourself to express your needs and communicate with your divine feminine where you are. If you're not in communication, allow yourself to receive that support energetically. Your divine feminine loves you unconditionally and is supporting you unconditionally, even if you're not in communication. Bring love into the situation, even if it's just energetically, even just within yourself. Because your ascension, you're breaking free, you're going through your ascension process, you're going through a rebirth. There's a lot of healing that's happening for you right now, and that healing might look like a little bit tumultuous. It might look like some tower moments, but tower moments always create the breakthrough, always create revolution. From the tower creates the breakthrough. From the destruction comes the creation, but you have to allow yourself to surrender and go through it in order to come out the other side. Divine Feminines, guidance for you. Hold your vision. We're going to end with that. Have faith in your dreams at the bottom of the deck. Yes. Divine Feminines, it's what we were saying. It's you might have a little bit of trouble believing right now what you've always intuitively known about your connection, about union, about your journey, about your path. You've always had this intuitive knowing, and part of this journey has been trusting that when, especially in the physical 3D world, you might have been given cause to doubt that. But trust in this. This is all unfolding for you. It might not look exactly how you expected it. We've talked about that in previous Sacred Union energy updates, but it's still coming to fruition for you. So hold your vision, have faith in those dreams, trust in yourself and what you're intuiting, what you're feeling within yourself, trust in that inner knowing, have that faith, hold that space for yourself, and keep surrendering. Okay, long reading. We're going to end this here. Let me know in the comments how this resonated for you. If this resonated for you, feel free to share parts of your journey as well as you feel called to, because we are a community here, and I want that to really be a value. Patreon, we're going to have a pick a pile over for you guys as well. Patreon is free this month, so everybody's going to have access to be able to view it, but it's going to be over through the Patreon. We'll have a pick a pile later this week. Sending lots of love and lots of light and lots of gratitude for all of you. We'll see you soon.